What you may not understand is that my star is elevated and I can't be regulated because my greatness has been negotiated. My path is my creation, and regardless of adulation, each step I take is filled with gratitude and elations. You see, this journey I am on, try to lower my greatness, there are no negotiations. Yo, good afternoon, everybody. How you doing? This is your coach, Uncle Renz, and today I want to answer one of the questions that I've received through my email from one of my subscribers. And I appreciate all the questions, and I try to answer as many as I possibly can, and run my business at the same time. But this question was very, very video worthy, and I will get to more video worthy questions as we go. There's just a lot of them, plus with the videos that I already have scheduled. Now, the question was pertaining to the video I did about magic a few weeks back, where I said that don't practice magic unless you know what you're doing. Now, many people, most people, pretty much all people are practicing one form of magic or another. So before the super religious trolls start commenting in the bottom of this video, let me go ahead and express that the only magic that people will accept is the magic that they participate in already. Everybody else's magic is the money. Now, some of you are going to say, I don't practice magic because of my religion. Well, if you pray, if you meditate, if you have any kind of symbolic thing that represents something and you put energy towards it, that's magic. If you have rituals that you go through to invoke something to be manifested, that's magic. If you're asking for supernatural healing or forgiveness or some manifestation of power or something to come into your life, a husband, wife, money, that's magic. Even if you're putting forth effort behind the request, it's still magic. All right? Now you have Enochian magic, you have Solomon's magic, you got Egyptian magic, you got sex magic, which is one of my favorites. But let me express that sex magic is not like romantic or lustful sex. It's very different. But you have tons of variations. You got bottle magic, you got all kinds of magic. And like I said, if you're giving energy to a statue, if you're saying that this person, this saint represents this person, or when I was in Israel, and I'm not picking on Christians, but I saw tons of Christians going to the River Jordan and buying the bottles of the water to take back with them because it represents where Yeshua was baptized. I saw tons of Christians, Muslims, Jews going to the Wailing Wall, putting in and praying and writing on their piece of paper their prayer requests. This is magic. Now, if I had known better when I was younger and I was at the Wailing Wall, I would have done that one differently. This is one of the reasons why I say if you don't understand magic, you don't know what you're doing, it can backfire to a certain degree. Or if you're vague, you will get a vague response. So here's the deal. When I went to Israel, the first time, I was 20 years old, just turned 20. And I was married, newly married. I had only been married for about 6 months at that time frame. When I got to the Wailing Wall, now I was already into alchemy and magic and other things like that. But when I got to the Wailing Wall, I recognized the power of people going to a piece of a structure and invoking their prayers into the structure, writing on the paper and putting their prayers, and you put your prayer into the structure, and then all that energy from all these people is going into this structure. So I recognize the power. I just didn't know how to use it correctly. So what happened? I just wrote on there that I want my relationship to stay strong. That's all I wrote. I wasn't specific. You see, in magic, you have to be specific. Now, me and my ex-wife now, we had a strong relationship already. It got stronger, but when we had certain challenges, the marriage didn't continue. But we have 3 kids. We still have a strong friendship. I don't have baby mama drama. I don't have all this kind of stress. I can see my kids as often as I like. Whenever, matter of fact, me and my kids just went to the movies last night, and my son got finals today. But we went to the movies last night, me and my kids. I have a very strong relationship still with my children's mother, which I placed into that wall
and invoke the magic and the power of all that energy in that wall. It didn't necessarily backfire, but I didn't get what the goal was at that time frame in my life. Why? Because I was vague. So that tells you one thing. When you're conducting magic, when you're praying, when you're looking for manifestations, you have to be specific, very specific, incredibly specific. Now, to get to the question that was asked, the question was, I just started practicing magic as I moved out of the structured religion. I'm not going to tell you what their religion is, but it doesn't seem to be working, or it works sometimes. Here's the situation. Here's the problem. Here's what you're going through. And I know this person very well because I've been working with them for a while. So you are moving out of a conditioning that you've had for your entire life. In that conditioning, your mindset is already a certain way. You have to understand that magic is only there to reinforce what you already believe. Magic will reinforce what you truly believe. Now, if you already believe something, magic is easier for you because you already have a belief in it. So if you already believe that you have the power of healing, guess what? Magic will only help you heal better and faster. If you believe you have the power of wealth, of building wealth, then magic will help you build wealth faster. But if you have a disbelief of those things and you're trying to use magic to move you over into it, you're going to have long suffering. Patience is going to be your friend. Patience is going to be that thing that's going to help you to develop your magical techniques. It's going to help you to develop your magical endurance. And as you get stronger, things will happen faster. But even when you're strong, there are certain things in magic that take time. For instance, let's say you have a business that you want to grow. Businesses generally take a while to grow. If you're very successful in 10 years, that's called being an overnight success, right? So one of the magic spells you can do is near your business, find a tree that's growing. Not an old tree that's been there for a while, but one that's growing. If you understand what sigils are, do a sigil. And I might do a video about sigils later. Do a sigil, or just write it out. A sigil is stronger, but write it out. Fold up that piece of paper and bury it underneath that tree or next to that tree so that it grows with the strength of the growth of that tree. You're utilizing the symbology of nature and the growth and the power of nature to be able to reinforce your belief in growing a strong business. You see, this is why when I discovered the Kabbalion, and I discovered the Emerald Tablets, and I started understanding the 7 Hermetic laws, things that cannot be broken, I started to realize that first, your mental state is the condition of everything around you. When you get your mind, if you don't control your mind and then control your emotions, then you will have difficulties manifesting anything, regardless of what your belief is. I don't care if you're Christian, Muslim, Jewish, if you're spiritual, if you're Wiccan, if you're Santa Marita, it doesn't matter. Whatever your belief is, if you don't have control of your mental state, if you're not, the power that you have in your mental state will be the power of your magic. It'll be the power of your prayers, the power of your manifestations. And I've seen this so many times. I started working with someone a couple of years ago. We were working through ancestry magic, or ancestry work, and built an ancestor altar. I taught her how to build the ancestor altar, actually, and then I learned a lot more things while I was working with her as far as the ancestry altar, some rituals, some of the ways of doing it. And the thing about it is, many people who were Christian was like, oh, that's demonic, your ancestors, you're praying to your ancestors. And one particular person who said something to me, I asked him, I said, but I recall some years ago, you telling me about how your mother came to visit you after she died. That's ancestry. That's ancestry worship. And I don't like using the term worship because I'm not bowing down and saying my ancestors are my God. But it's just like I'm working with my ancestors. They're in the spirit realm. If they're in the spirit realm, then they are more conscious of what's going on in the spirit realm than I am, because they're there. It's like if I want to know what's going on in Egypt right now, and I know somebody in Egypt, and I call them, they know what's going on than I do because they're there. So in the same thing with ancestors in the spirit realm. Same thing with spirits, angelic beings, whatever you want to call them, saints. They're in the spirit realm. They can work with you better. They can work with those things better. So you should understand that, but realize the kingdom is all the way around you. It's all around you. So you have that access yourself. You just have to open up your third eye, open up your willingness, open up your chakras so that you can see it. But anyway, the thing about it is, what I wanted to, the point is for you to understand that the strength of your belief is going to be the strength of your magic. And when you're converting into a magic, but you have it's like moving, right? Every time you move, most people throw away a lot of stuff. You see a lot of things that you don't need, that you've been holding on to, that you really need to release. But when you move, you see everything. Everything's in the open space, because a lot of the things that you have right now, I guarantee you that many of you can go into your closets, into your basement, into your attic, wherever you store stuff, and you'll find a bunch of crap that you don't use, haven't used, and will never use. But when you move, you start emptying those things. You start unveiling them. Now they come into the light. You see them, and it's like, oh, here's this. I don't need this anymore. You start donating stuff, throwing away stuff, having estate sales, having garage sales. You start getting rid of it, right? Now, some of you are hoarders, and you hold on to it. Oh, this has this. Oh, I got to hold. Oh, I can't let this go. And you've been carrying stuff for 20, 30 years, knowing that you don't need it, knowing that it has no use for you. Magic, when you're moving from one thing to another, is like moving. You have a choice. Am I going to bring those things into the light that I know I have no need for, no use for, that don't serve me? Am I going to hold on to it, or am I going to release it? Now, if you're trying to move into something that's counter to that, you have to release it. You can't hold on to something that's counter to what you desire and then think that your magic is going to work. If you want to do a magic spell on building wealth to reinforce your mental state of building wealth, so that your cause and effect state of mental wealth increases, but you're holding on to that conscious people have to remain poor, that poverty is something is akin to holiness, then you will never build financial wealth, because you're still holding on to something that was in your closet that you should have let go, but you didn't let it go. You still holding on to it. So when you start the business, it doesn't work, it fails. When you invest in something, it doesn't work, it fails, because you're still holding on to that. It's easier for the camel to go through the eye of a needle than a rich man to enter the gates of heaven. And you don't really know what the eye of a needle is, even though it's a big damn gateway that amazed the hell out of me when I was in Israel the first time. And I had just saw a camel like 2 weeks ago, because I just left Desert Storm. So if you're still holding on to it's a sewing needle, then you won't become wealthy, because you can't grow abundance. If you think that you have to have a vow of poverty, you can't grow wealth. If you think that holiness is akin to poverty, you can't grow wealth. That rich people are evil and dirty and scammy, and they stole and they did everything they can to stomp on the little guy to become wealthy, then you can't develop wealth. You gotta let go. You gotta let go. You gotta move, and you gotta throw that shit away. So until you throw it away, until you remove it out of your mind, those spells, that magic won't work. That change of mind won't work. You have to completely rid yourself of it. So I hope that answered your question, that when you rid yourself of things, then your magic works, because now your state of mindset, your mental state is vibrating at a frequency that attracts wealth. Or attracts love, or attracts whatever it is. And depending upon what you're trying to attract, there are different states of being that you have to be into. All things are just symbolic to help you to vibrate at a frequency to attract what it is that you want in your life. That's the meat and potatoes of it. But it's very difficult to get there unless you know what you're doing. So I hope that you guys start studying, start working and developing in order to increase your vibration to the frequency of what it is you want. If your heart chakra needs to spin faster, then speed it up. If it needs to slow down because you're being used a lot, slow it down. All right? If your throat chakra needs to speed up because you want to speed it up. If you want to be quiet, slow it down. Those are just symbolic things of understanding to help you to utilize everything that you are already perfectly given from day one of your creation. So y'all have a great day. Remember, your greatness is non-negotiable, and you got to free yourself to be yourself. Please comment, like, share, and subscribe. Y'all have a great day. This is your coach, Uncle Renz.